Hi everybody, it's Mr. B here. Want to do a quick video to show you how to brainstorm your National History Day topic. So many times teachers ask you just to brainstorm an idea, brainstorm a History Day topic, think of everything you can think. The hard part about that is, where do we start our thinking? Because our thinking, we can think about all kinds of things. I can think about how I'm hungry, how I want coffee, how I want to go home. There's lots of things to think about, but if we don't know where to start and how to start, it's difficult for us to get a brainstormed list. So here's some ideas. The whole point of History Day is for you to do an advanced research project with something you're interested in. So if you just choose a random topic that you have no interest in, it's going to be hard to complete it. It's going to be long and it's going to be boring. And it might be that way anyway, but hopefully we can find something you're going to be interested in. So what are you interested in? Start with that list of things. Say, what are my favorite things? And look at them. Say, I like music, art, animation, technology, games, sports, social justice, warfare. Start with the very day-to-day stuff. Say like, man, I love video games. But then go for there. Maybe your thinking gets a little bigger. Maybe you start looking at the lens of a history lens, right? Instead of just a personal like lens after that. But start with the personal like lens. Now move to an area of history. Okay, an area of history is not a finite time period or a fixed time period. It's more just a broad section of history. So it could be women's history, Filipino American history, labor history, Washington state history, African American history, LGBTQ, but it could also be the history of technology or the history of spaceflight or the history of warfare. This step is not like So thinking of an area of history, you can also think of an era of history. Area and era sound the same, but they're different. An era is a fixed sort of time period. So just let's take a look at what my list is, and it makes more sense when we look at it. So we've got civil rights, Civil War, westward expansion, 1970s punk scene, World War II, colonism in the 19th century. All of these are eras in history, time periods that sort of have a starting point and a finishing point. All right, let's start with this graphic organizer. I use this image of an umbrella to let the ideas rain down. And so let's start with World War II. This is my era, E-R-A, of history. It could be an area of history like warfare, right? But I went from warfare, my big area, to an era, which is World War II. Now, World War II is a giant concept. There's so much history to deal with here that you couldn't do a project just on World War II. You'd have to break it into its pieces and parts. So I want you to start thinking about the biggest pieces and parts. And I've put a few together here. Most of you have some sense of these big ideas. Things like D-Day or the Holocaust. And these ideas, the reason why they go up here with my Japanese incarceration, Nazi Germany, Great Britain, Hitler, FDR, war in the Pacific, Pearl Harbor, all big ideas related to World War II. And so next thing is we've got all these big ideas. And the reason why we have things like Japanese incarceration, Pearl Harbor, D-Day, all of these things up here, like war in the Pacific, Holocaust, because these ideas are almost as large as World War II. So so this is what goes at the top of our umbrella, right? But then what goes underneath, you may ask? Well, what goes underneath our umbrella, or it's kind of like, I think of it as raining ideas inside the umbrella. And these are smaller ideas associated with other big ideas. That sounds like just gibberish, right? Well, you started with World War II and you came up with all these other very large topics. And now, what are some smaller topics that fit under these big topics? And I put all these together quickly for us. So we've got World War II. I have the Navajo Code Talkers. That is related directly to World War II. That's a smaller idea, uh, and I'm not going to go through exactly what that is, right? I won't have time. The importance of news reels. That's under my World War II. Now, under incarceration, Japanese incarceration, I have this idea of the no-no boys, saying no to the loyalty of. This um, this is an artist. This relates to the Holocaust. This is an artist, and I'm not gonna. And his name is Jazawecki, I think his name. He's an portrait artist. He did portraits during the Holocaust from the inside of Auschwitz. Speeches of Churchill that could go under Great Britain. We have one of my favorite topics, the Zoot Suit riots. That is, could you tie that right to World War II? We have Nazi propaganda, right? That could be a smaller idea relating to Nazi Germany. So now we have all these big ideas um, up here in our big part of the umbrella, and then of course we can just, make these direct connections with uh, going down, right? Like, so I could go from, let's say, Nazi Germany, and I could go down to Nazi propaganda, or I could go to World War II, and I could link down here to Navajo code talkers. Now, I don't need the lines in your connecting lines. I just did that to show you what's connecting with what. Again, Japanese incarceration is connected to this idea of no-no boys. So you can see I've got these big ideas, and I've started to break my big ideas down into smaller ideas, smaller topic ideas that are a little more manageable and more precise. So I want to send you to a wonderful site for helping you out with ideas for your topic related to this year's theme, Communication and History, the Key to Understanding. And I'd love to send you to the Washington State History Day page where they have exhaustive resources, but I can't because they don't. So what I am going to send you to is the Minnesota Historical Society. Now, we love the Minnesota Historical Society because they provide us all of these wonderful resources. And I know those folks who work over there, and they are so good at what they do. So I want to just show you a couple of things today. General theme resources, but it's down here in Minnesota theme presentation video series. These videos are great to watch, but this is what's going to be maybe the quickest way to get to it. There's a great novice means beginning, topic list here. You click on that, it's a PDF, and it will break these into areas of history. So you see you have war, health, music, art, activism, discrimination. You see you'll have those little icons. Oh, look at that. You have all these little icons, and you can use those to figure out, oh, I just love me some good war, and you can go down and you can find your war, Battle of Gettysburg, Berlin Wall, Boston Massacre. Other things like things that Mr. B might be interested in would be things like laws and courts, activism, discrimination. These are other things you could go into, and some of these combine, right? Like Bob Dylan combines music, art, activism. This year's a great year for artists in the communication history. This one I like really good here. You've got laws, you've got activism, um, social justice, and that's the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Legislation also really great topics for this year's history. One other thing I want to show you from our friends at the Minnesota Historical Society. There's other things here. There is like a topic list for an expert, uh, all kind of good stuff. But it says topic Weebly brainstorm. Now, what that is, it's a website picking your History Day topic, and that's on communication and history. You click right there, it tells you to click there, and look, it's all broken down. Let's say I'm a big sports person. Go to sports, and then I've got all this wonderful stuff. And what I really would like to focus on is Muhammad Ali, because he's one of our, if Muhammad Ali would have, he was the world champion boxer and an amazing communicator. And so it lists, it gives you a little bit of background information on what this topic might be concerning. But here's the best part. Um, you've got all these resources, right? So you can jump in to start looking at this topic because Muhammad Ali lived a very long life and did a lot of amazing things besides just box. And there's lots of stories to tell with Muhammad Ali. And but you could actually, jump to different sources from here. At least I hope you can. Um, yep. Well, that's not jumping to other pages. Let's see if it does there. Yeah, so right hack, there you go. Let's take a look at another one. Looks like some of those links might be broken. Another really great this one, 1968 Black Power Salute. This is a personal favorite topic of mine, and there are links right here. You can just pop right on over and learn about this event and think about uh, think about the topic. So those are two great sources that you can use from the Minnesota Historical Society to help you get started with your brainstorm. Well, I hope that's enough to help you get started on your brainstorm using the Umbrella Graphic Organizer. Good luck with your project, and I'll see you soon.